to know that you've accomplished all those things, but I think what's most important about it is it doesn't stop when you turn in your passport. It doesn't stop when all the stamps are filled out, but rather you continue to keep working at it. You continue to seek out those community service abilities and just areas where you can grow in your character. So I really recommend joining it. It is a rigorous program, but it's totally worth it at the end. Plus, you get a free T-shirt, so I mean, why not, right? Okay. Yeah, that's it for me.
Good morning. Thank you. Today I'm here to share with you on how Passport to Lead has helped me learn about leadership and overall become an effective leader, not only at Houston Christian, but in my life. Over the course of my 3 years at Houston Christian, the Passport to Lead program did exactly as it said it would. It has slowly developed me into a leader by strengthening my faith and nurturing the gifts I already had, by challenging me to achieve difficult tasks. These tasks that the Passport gave me did not always put me in the most comfortable environments, like when I laid wreaths at Houston Veteran Cemetery with Ryan Pesher and Gregory Fasani. But as I endured each process, I learned many things that I'll keep with me for the rest of my life. For instance, the program challenged me to attend a leadership seminar and then discuss the experience with my fellow peers. One of the few I attended was the SLOT conference at Texas A&M. While I was there, I listened to several incredible speakers. One in particular stood out to me because of his unique story and his special abilities. He was blind, but all of his other senses were heightened so much that the lack of eyesight was practically unnoticeable. He taught me about how he didn't allow the adversity in his life to break him down. If I would have never gone to that seminar, I would still be thinking small-mindedly and have a completely different perspective on how to handle adversity. I, along with a few other classmates, like Greek Rice, Alyssa Linham, even Kate Welsh, walked out of the seminar knowing that adversity doesn't break you, but it shapes you for the better. God put us on this earth knowing that we would face many hard challenges, and He left us with 2 things: the decision of how we would face those challenges, and if we would allow those challenges to make us run away from them. This program has taught me about compassion by challenging me to go to several AC events. Being there for my fellow Mustangs, whether they need it or not, has taught me that showing up to an event can make someone's whole week because of the hard work and preparation that they put into their extracurricular. Through this program, I learned to become an effective leader at Houston Christian because I was challenged to hold an elective school leadership position and become a Camp Mustang counselor. I was able to affect those in and out of my grade by listening to things they wanted to see happen in our community and by being an example of making the most out of the situations we are given. The intangible qualities of this program have allowed me to boost my character, my courage, and my competence, which has helped me in my everyday life. That's all I have. Thank you, guys.
Hi everyone, my name is Isabella LeBlanc and I'm a senior student council representative. Today I want to share a little bit about the Passport to Lead program and invite the freshmen to take part in it. First, we need to understand what a passport is. Merriam-Webster says, a passport is an official document issued by the government that identifies someone as a citizen of that country and that is usually necessary when entering or leaving a different country. Essentially, a passport is a government-issued document that lets everyone know who you are and where you're going. Passports are necessary to travel to a different country, and travel matters because it affects a person's viewpoint. But do we have to physically go to another place to change our viewpoint? Of course not. Travel isn't always about going to a new place. It's more about learning and experiencing something new. So Passport to Lead, then, is a program about who you are and where you're going for the purpose of leadership. Over your high school career, Passport to Lead develops you not just as a student, but as a person friend, follower of Christ, and more. It helps you understand more about the world we all live in. If you didn't know, Houston is the most diverse city in America. We speak 145 languages and represent people from 157 different ethnic groups. People just outside our door have unique life experiences, cultural viewpoints, and values we've never seen firsthand. Passport to Lead encourages each student to get out into our neighborhoods through community service and outreach. On a personal level, Passport to Lead teaches diligence and perseverance over the 4 years of your high school career and encourages participants to not only be intentional with their time, but with their commitments. Joining 10 different clubs sounds great, but how much of yourself can you give to each activity? Instead, join a few and seek to lead others. In my time as a Passport to Lead student, I learned more about the strengths God gave me as a leader and how to lead when I'm not in charge. Through D groups, I was able to advise and mentor 2 underclassmen over the course of my junior year. They taught me that empathy is a strength, not a weakness. The ability to feel another person's emotions is a rare and important leadership talent. For 2 years in the theater department, I shadowed various department heads to learn more about the shows and unique necessities for each character. Even though I had no title or anyone who reported to me, Passport to Lead encouraged me to take initiative with my responsibilities and use the time I have backstage as efficiently as possible. Working in a time crunch will inevitably come up in my adult life, and understanding how to keep calm under pressure from a formative age can really benefit me. So why does Passport to Lead matter? Sure, I've told you why I think it does, in some ways that it's helped me become a better leader and student, but that's just my viewpoint. The program is a voluntary decision, and it's your choice to do what you make of it. But here's some advice. Invest in your future self. College admissions get more rigorous and exclusive every year, and it sometimes feels impossible to rise to the occasion. Take the time to make yourself a better person, better friend, and better leader, because at the end of the day, it's you who decides who you are and where you're going. Thank you.
Mrs. Packer was the name of my kindergarten teacher, and I adored this woman, as I hope most kindergartners do. She had short blonde hair, she was tall, and she had rounded glasses. And to be honest with you, I only remember one other thing about Mrs. Packer, and it was during recess one day. It was winter time. There was snow on the ground, and I spied the girl that I had a crush on. Her name was Laura Block. Now, I don't know how the little kindergartners in Antilles do it, but back in my day, the way to push that relationship forward was to hit her in the back of the head with a snowball. So I proceeded to make said snowball, and I drifted back into her blind spot, and I closed the distance, and I let her loose. Now, I'd like to think that I was proficient in many things as a kindergartner, but throwing snowballs was not one of them. So it sailed over her head. Fortunately for Laura, unfortunately for the little girl just beyond Laura, it augured itself in her ear. So you had freezing water rushing to her eardrum. She runs off to tell Mrs. Packard, and I find myself in whatever it is, kindergarten detention. Right? No more recess for Kev. And I'm sitting there waiting for Mrs. Packard to lecture me, to punish me. And to my surprise, she just asked me a question. She says, who do you want to be when you grow up? So that's an easy question to answer. This is circa 1977, and the answer is rhymed with, I want to be a Jedi Knight, and I want to be a firefighter. And she said, no, that's not what I asked you. I didn't ask you what you wanted to do. I asked you who you wanted to be. Don't ever confuse those two questions, because who you are is the mean little boy that just heard that from himself. Well, that's pretty interesting. So I sat there ashamed and sad and confused, because the gravity of what she pointed out to me wasn't clear at the time. It wouldn't be clear for years. But Mrs. Packard, see, she got it, right? She knew it. She knew this premium on character. And she knew that it's formed at an early age. And she knew that it's probably cost us a lot more than we're going to pay. She knew that it's a lot tougher to recover than it is to keep it. So fast forward 28 years, I'm in the military, and I slide into this role as the basic training officer, basic underwater demolition SEAL school. And that's a lot of words that just describe the guy who runs the 25-week SEAL training program. So when a kid raises his hand and says, I want to join the SEAL teams, whether he's actually in the military or he's not in the military, he'll go to boot camp and then he'll go straight to the schoolhouse, this 25-week schoolhouse. And it didn't take me long in that position to realize that SEAL training was the proving ground for Mrs. Packard's lesson of character. So the Secretary of Defense, right, he has a series of lists for all of the teams and units under his command. And the SEALs have their own list. And on that list, it might say, I need the SEALs to do these things, right? I need them to kill bad guys in dark places in the world and rescue hostages in dark places in the world. I need them to capture bad guys, take down ships, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And for each one of those missions, the SEALs have individual skills, right? That they need to be able to handle weapons and explosives, and they need to jump out of planes, they need to dive under the water. And the list would go on and on. And that's what the list looks like today. Well, 50 years ago, say during Vietnam, that list looked a lot different. 25 years ago during the Persian Gulf War, that list looked a lot different. Right, and that makes sense because warfare changes, special warfare changes. The techniques, the tactics, right, the technology, it evolves exponentially. So you adopt on the fly. But guess what hasn't changed a whole heck of a lot? Is basic SEAL training. So if I took all of you on a tour of the SEAL Training Center, you would be disappointed. It's a blast from the past. It is not a peek into the future. Right? You'd walk through and you'd see 300-pound telephone poles lined up on the beach. You'd see pull-up bars. Right? You'd see rope climbs. You'd see rubber boats that weigh 300 pounds that look like they're 50 years old. You'd see dive things that look like they're 150 years old. And the kids that walk through the door, they come from all walks of life. They come from Georgia, they come from West Virginia, California. They come right off the ships in the Navy. They're tall, they're skinny, they're short, they're wide. Some of them are ex-bankers. Some of them are ex-teachers. Some of them are ex-grand pianists. Some of them have never set foot in the ocean. Some of them have never even seen it done. And so if I lined up a class that was just about to start training, it would number about, we'd probably in this room here, about the same, so what do we have, 150-ish, let's say, 160. So you're a training class, just about to start training, I line you up, and I approach somebody from the audience, and we have a competition between me and you to predict the 30, because only 30 of you are gonna make it. With that number, give or take, 30 will make it. 25 weeks later, you're gonna graduate. Everyone else goes away. You have as good a chance as me, or any SEAL instructor for that matter, of picking who's gonna make it, right? Why is that? Because SEAL instructors know what Mrs. Packard knows, is that making that 3-meter headshot with a snowball doesn't matter. Making a 50-meter headshot with a snowball doesn't matter. You can be an expert in a ton of things that doesn't matter. They're not looking for experts. And despite what you may read about, or despite what you may see on the big screen, it's not about survival of the fittest, not even by stretch. So what you're looking for is the kid who knows it's a bad idea to throw that snowball. Bad idea. Wrong place, wrong time, wrong target, wrong weapon of choice. The intent versus the expected outcome, it's not going to work out in my favor. It's not going to work out in my favor, right? Yeah. And even if it was a good idea to throw a snowball, you're going to look at the risk and say, nope, I'm walking away. So who you are, what you value, how committed you are, what are you prepared to do to preserve this value system that you have? Right? What's the true nature of your character? That is going to be tested. And that place is absolutely going to find the answer to those questions. Because the truth is
Morning, freshmen. I especially want to welcome the mothers and fathers, moms and dads, and family members who took the time to come here to see their son or daughter come across the stage. Thank you very much for that. Since I was your age, everything has changed. Google, Facebook, Instagram, iPhones, internet. Never had any of that. Google, if you want to find something out, you just go to Google, look it up. It tells you I had to go to the library, I had to do research. iPhones, you can make a call and get through to whoever you're calling in 7 to 10 seconds. In some cases, it took me 2 days. And all we had was a phone in the house. We didn't walk around with it. So we have to be prepared all the time for things changing, and it's going to continue. But there's 4 things I'm going to tell you about that never change, ever. Ever. They're solid. If you do these, I can almost guarantee you will have a rich, exciting life. And wouldn't you rather run around doing things with your hair on fire than be bored? Because I would. First, and this is the most important, you must have Jesus Christ in your life. Period. He is our Savior. He is our Redeemer. He must be the one to guide our path. I want to spend eternity with my wife, my son, my daughter, my 5 grandchildren, and all the other believers I know and I don't know. I look forward to that. Jesus Christ has given me that. He's my Lord and Savior. I encourage you, please make Him your Lord and Savior. And then I'll be able to see you all in eternity. Second, you must be a person of character. That means you are a person of integrity. That means you are always honest. That means when you speak, you look people in the eye. That means when you make a promise, you keep it. That means when you shake someone's hand to seal an agreement, you keep it. That means when you sign a contract, you keep it. That means when you take your leadership oath today, you honor it with all your actions. That means you will not lie, cheat, or steal, or tolerate those who do. That means you don't bow to peer pressure. That's what character means. Is everyone tracking with me? Third, you must be a servant leader. That means you put the needs of others before your needs. That means when you see a person sitting alone at lunch in the student center, you get a few of your friends and you go sit with him or her. That means you are not afraid to admit when you are wrong. That means you are not afraid to apologize to anyone you have wronged. That means you are a good teammate and you place the team needs before your own. That means you show empathy when it is needed. That means if you demonstrate these, you will have influence. And guess what? Leadership is influence. Are you still tracking with me? We're almost there. Fourth, this is the last one. You must always strive for excellence. That means here you will have to study and study hard. That means you turn in your assignments on time. It means you're active in class discussions. It means you get to school and get to class on time. It means you are courteous to your classmates and to your teachers. It means you focus in class. It means if your classmate needs help, you provide it. It means if you are really good in a course, you sign up to be a tutor in PAL. It means if you are struggling in a course, don't be afraid to go to PAL for help. Are you tracking? So here it is. Jesus is first in your life. Integrity always. Service before self. Excellence in all you do. If you as a class can accomplish these things, you will leave a lasting legacy here at Houston Christian. And remember this, there's only 2 kinds of people in this world. The doers and everybody else. Be a doer. Go Mustangs.
Okay, freshmen, prepare to be introduced. It is my honor to introduce Kate Carr.
It's my honor to introduce Layla Tudor.
It is my pleasure to introduce Gigi Eister.
It's my honor to introduce Layla Richardson.
It is my honor to introduce Taylor West.
It's my pleasure to introduce Mady Darrow.
It is my honor to introduce Diane Weber.
It's my honor to introduce Ali Weigel.
It is my honor to introduce Abby Lambert.
It's my honor to introduce Savannah Williams.
It is my honor to introduce Claire Kelly.
It's my honor to introduce Taylor Ferruzzo.
It is my honor to introduce Lena Lowry.
It's my honor to introduce Ali Molinar.
It is my honor to introduce Grace Transit.
It's my honor to introduce Taylor Nico.
It is my honor to introduce Maddox Williams.
It's my honor to introduce Carson Larry.
It is my honor to welcome Grant Nico.
It's my honor to introduce Titus Tyler.
It is my joy to introduce Lily Elliott.
It's my pleasure to introduce Peter Morello.
It is my honor to introduce Aiden Parker.
It's my honor to introduce Tristan Bourne.
It is my honor to introduce Matthew Tebow.
It's my honor to introduce Paris Kinsey.
It is my honor to welcome John Koch.
It's my honor to introduce Bam Bennett.
It is my honor to welcome John Meisgeiger.
It's my honor to introduce Tiger Dawn.
It is my honor to introduce Ramsey Khalifa. It is my joy to welcome Lucas Granados.
Go, Lucas!
It is my joy to welcome William Halverson.
It's my honor to introduce Emily McDonald.
It is my honor to welcome Adriana Martinez.
It's my honor to introduce Ava Popovitz.
It's my joy to welcome Alyssa Ludi.
It's my pleasure to introduce Nikki Thorne.
It is my joy to welcome Emily Jenkins.
It's my honor to welcome Susan Allison.
It is my honor to introduce Cortland Cameron.
It's my honor to introduce Anushka Patel.
It is my honor to welcome Kaylee Erler.
It's my honor to introduce Karen Garrett.
It is my honor to welcome Ella Drury.
It's my honor to introduce Ellie Living.
My honor to welcome Scarlett Ann Divido.
It's my honor to welcome Brandon Cho.
It is my honor to welcome Rebecca Clark.
It's my honor to welcome Hendrix Nelson.
It is my honor to welcome Matt Zodapek.
It's my honor to welcome Mason Nunu.
It is my joy to introduce Luke Duncan.
It's my pleasure to introduce Tony Stevens.
It is my pleasure to welcome Assad Ghanem.
It's my pleasure to introduce Xavier Miller.
It is my pleasure to introduce Miles Joling.
Let's welcome Chance Toller.
It is my honor to introduce Caleb McCollum.
It's my pleasure to introduce Ben Adams.
It is my honor to introduce Jack Ratliff.
It's my honor to introduce William Mallon.
It is my honor to introduce Jeffrey McPherson.
It's my honor to introduce Alex Morello.
It is my honor to introduce Joshua Chin.
It's my honor to introduce Hayden Hawkinson.
It is my honor to introduce Jacob Young.
It's my honor to welcome Jordan Wooden.
It is my honor to introduce Elena Escobar.
Let's welcome Christian Frage.
It is my honor to introduce Bella Holt.
It's my honor to welcome Isaac Arizona.
It is my honor to introduce KK Sweeney.
It's my honor to introduce Matt Gray.
It is my honor to introduce Riley Staub.
It's my honor to introduce Hudson Songer.
It is my joy to introduce Carolina Turchinski.
My pleasure to introduce Caleb Allen.
It is my honor to introduce Carson Kirkendall.
It's my honor to introduce Christian Gotthard.
It is my honor to introduce Sophia Kenobi.
It's my honor to welcome Aiden King.
It is my honor to introduce Zoe Green.
It's my honor to introduce Mia Franklin.
It is my honor to introduce Will McCann.
It's my honor to introduce Laura Townsend.
It is my honor to introduce Elijah Langang.
It's my honor to introduce Fiona Rodriguez.
It is my honor to introduce John Stahl.
It's my honor to introduce Isa Virbani.
It is my honor to introduce Evan Mendoza.
It's my honor to introduce Izzy Haas.
It is my pleasure to introduce Jack Williams.
It's my honor to introduce Aya Tuaga.
It is my honor to introduce Lito Guerrero.
Let's welcome Molly Gray.
It is my honor to introduce Jackson Tabor.
It's my honor to introduce McKay Wong.
It is my honor to introduce Harrison Bacon. It is my honor to introduce Ethan Kling.
read the oath of honor for us. Hello, please stand, raise your right hand, and repeat the leadership honor code after me. I understand that Houston Christian High School takes an open stand for the Lord Jesus Christ. And encourages students to grow in grace and in knowledge of Christ. As a leader, I pledge to live according to the code of conduct, which has been established for my own good and for the good of the entire school community. I further understand that if I violate or witness other members of the Houston Christian High School community, violating any of the code standards, I am obligated to immediately report such violations to the Honor Council.
So sophomores, juniors, seniors, and parents, can you all give a hand to our female chaplain, Children's, is going to close us in prayer. Please bow your heads with me. Dear God, thank you so much for this time that we've had together to recognize our freshman class. I know that you're going to do amazing things with them, Lord. I pray that you instill the ability to lead other people. I pray that they remember the verse, 1 Timothy 4:12, that says that we should lead even though we're young, Lord, and that we shouldn't let anybody look down on us because we're young. I pray that you just help them to grow to be an incredible class that changes the culture of Houston Christian.
Before we dismiss, I want to thank several people for making this such an outstanding assembly. First of all, and one clap for each would be appropriate, the Mustang Parent Council. I want to thank Calvin and the folks in the back. I want to thank Rick Ellis and his folks in maintenance. And especially I want to thank our student council for all their hard work. Thank you, everybody. You are dismissed.
Oh, you did? One second. Now I'm gonna figure out what. Now the inquiry begins. I'll tell you what I do need. See the microphones that are on the side? Yeah, you know where they go. And bring her on the mic.